This place is Monofonus Studios. There are these small structures around here, but it's like one kind of village, like we're a compound. The architecture here, I think, is really surprising. I mean, the bathroom looking like a wedge of cheese. It's interesting for people when they walk through the gate to see all the different buildings sort of plopped around, and they're different styles. They're all designed or thought up by Jesse Hartman.
My design usually starts with the material I find. So I recover material that has been discarded by society, lamp poles, telephone poles, pieces of metal, car hoods, whatever it may be. And then I try to figure out what the uses are potentially for it. When I try to design something, I try to just find the inherent beauty of the material that I'm using. Whatever I build kind of forms out of that. This bathroom is sitting on 3 telephone poles that were in the garbage, essentially. It's made from 85–90% recycled material, and it has a disco ball.
I'm just still getting moved in here. I've been in here for probably 2 months, but I'm still pretty lazy about getting myself set up. But I figured it might as well be about time. I started doing the Golem series when I was in grad school. The legend that it came from. It's sort of an old piece of like Jewish folklore. The story is that a rabbi who sort of studied the Kabbalah like really well can sort of figure out the recipe that God left behind when he made Adam and sort of follow that recipe and make himself like a robot. The suite is based real loosely on a book called The Golem by Gustav Meyrink. It was written in 1914, I think. I wanted to do one print for each of the 20 chapters in the book. The very first ones were sort of illustrative, and they were more like in keeping with the original story. As I kept doing it, the prints started getting like farther and farther away from the book, and I started to think about consumption and ingestion and expulsion and all things gastrointestinal. There's one where people are just kind of like, you know, gorging themselves and eating. There's a few other ones where there's like evidence of people having eaten, like there's like sort of like food trash and TV dinners and empty beers and stuff strewn around. The sort of consumption and ingestion and expulsion has a lot more to do with kind of like being, I guess, metaphor for just gluttony in general. I'm always staggered by the amount of trash that I produce just on a weekly basis. It's sort of unreasonable. Sort of a strange time in terms of production because I've just been trying to like draw a lot and not really think about what it is I'm drawing. I've been trying to get loosened up. I've been feeling kind of like not really sure what I want to make, so I've been kind of just flipping through National Geographics or other, you know, reference image books that I've got and just finding things I like and just sort of drawing them just straight up. They're almost exercises right now. We'll see if they take me anyplace interesting.
I can't really remember what a snake's face looks like.
Snake's face?
Yeah. It was looking directly at you. I was hoping that a rattlesnake's face would be more interesting. It's not really. I'll just have to make it interesting. My space is just my junk. and I share it sort of with a couple people, but mainly this guy right here. This guy kind of shares it sometimes. Okay, get out of here. I'm a nurse. I work with the mentally and physically disabled, so I do that from 2 to 10, and then all morning from when I wake up until I go to work, I work on my projects. Currently I'm working on a children's story. It started out sort of Western theme, and it's still going that direction, but it also has an element of fantasy to it. I don't want to say too much about it, but it's about a horse, this magical horse. It's magical. It's going to be pretty psychedelic. Purple pitcher plant. The purple pitcher plant is the most common carnivorous plant in North America. That's interesting. It can be found in Florida Panhandle all the way up to Canada. The plant can vary in color from lime green to dark purple. When I watched this documentary, they said that they were filming them actually in Borneo, so I guess I just assumed that they only grew there. Probably, you know, they don't grow in North America. They may all be indigenous to North America, but I don't imagine you get to see very much of that in the wild around here. We've already messed up this area of the world pretty bad, so I guess the only way we'll ever get to see this kind of stuff in North America is if we grow it in a terrarium in a protected environment. Pretty soon North America is just going to be a bubble. We're going to have to make it into a bubble. The terrarium project, you know, it's going to be sort of like living sculptures. All the pieces to the terrariums are all just like found stuff and used stuff. Ross is trying to help me figure out a way to have a watering system and a humidifying system so that you can do more than just grow plants that are traditionally terrarium plants. I'd like to make them sort of sculptural somehow, maybe adding elements to the interior of the terrariums, and then also in the fashion that they're connected. So it'll kind of look, they'll be like laboratory type sculptures. They'll look sort of scientific or like sci-fi in the end.
Slow to the sun.